Hey, you! I'm your nutrition coach. My name is Jackie Poole. Welcome to Happiness is a Healthier Habit. Let's get today's episode started. Hello, coming in. I'm actually recording today on the day of, so as soon as I'm done recording here with you, I am going to post these. So this is very live today. I just got to my studio, my recording place. It's already a very stressful week and it's only Wednesday, and so I am just here to deliver some news today. So most of you, if you follow me, if you've been listening, you know that I just got back from a wellness retreat in Orlando due to the company that I'm affiliated with, which is Make Wellness. And obviously they have the best bioactive precision peptides in the world. I mean, there is no other product like this. We are booming. We are expanding to Canada. So many new things. And I think I touched base on this the last time I talked to you, right? But I'm in the health and wellness space. So if you know, I'm a nutrition coach. I am a habit coach. I am a personal trainer. So I am very not only in the midst of like trying to find out all this homeschooling stuff, all the stay-home mom stuff, all the pregnancy stuff. I am all into this industry as well, and what is working for people, what is changing for people. And in today's episode, honestly, it's going to be a little bit informative for you because peptides are just such a big topic right now. And I think it's a big conversation that we need to have seriously because something big is happening right now in the peptide industry. Companies are shutting down. Others are getting legally blocked from operating. And so the FDA is really stepping in like way harder than before, not only because they want a piece of the pie, they are losing money, but because things are not being done the right way. And so I'm not a big fan of the FDA, and I'm not a big fan of all the regulatory things because sometimes they really barge in because they want a piece of the pie because they're not getting money from it. But at the same time, we got to ask this real question, where are peptides going? Why are some of these companies shutting down? And if there's actually a way of stepping into and doing things the right way, I'm here to tell you, yes, there is a right way, but there's so much going on right now that I wanted to do a segment on what's happening in the peptide space. So let's just get started, okay? What is going on? So, because I've actually had lots of conversations with people that tell me they've got peptides from this particular place. And so recently, Peptide Sciences closed their doors. And I remember having a conversation with this girl. She's like, yeah, I just meet with a doctor. They send them to me on, they mail them to me. I don't really have to meet up with a doctor. I don't know. It was very like, oh, that's super convenient. I think she was on like GLP-1s. She was trying to lose weight. This was some girl that messaged me in Austin. We were in the same group. She wanted some advice. And that's like the first time I've heard of Peptide Sciences. And the way she said it, she's like, I'm trying to get off instead of injecting. I don't want to inject myself. I don't like needles. So she was trying to find something more economical instead of doing the peptides because she did not. One, it was kind of getting pricey for her. Two, she didn't like doing the injections. So obviously she liked the easiness of her being able to order through Peptide Sciences, but it was just getting too much for her. And so that's the first time I've heard of Peptide Sciences. And so when I recently heard of their closure, I mean, honestly, this aligns directly with the FDA. They're really starting to ramp things up and things are rapidly changing. Obviously, this started, I think, in like 2023. And so the FDA has updated a bulk of drug substances like the number of peptides, the popular peptides that we've heard of, and they've called into these peptides like category 2. And so what category 2 basically means is that compound pharmacies are not allowed to sell these peptides. And so it's twofold this way, because some of the more popular peptides that we've heard are BPC-17, thymosin beta, amiporimelin. These are just some of the ones that I looked up into that are like more popular. Growth hormone. And so growth hormone has been out for a while. Let me tell you, like, bodybuilders have been using it. Insulin is a peptide. Peptides have been out for hundreds of years. There's no way of figuring out to monetize it and for human consumption until insulin, right? Insulin is a peptide. So they've been around for a really long time. And honestly, when the government wants to do something, when COVID was around, there were certain things that would really helpful with the recovery of COVID, and some of those things were not accessible. Why? Because obviously the government has some type of control. Now, when I hear this is when you compound pharmacies and get like generic prescriptions, they are going to be way cheaper. And I think I've touched bases on this. When you buy generic versus brand is covered by insurance. If you're paying out of pocket, that's going to be the most expensive, as opposed when you go generic or you go to a compound pharmacy, and it's going to be cheaper that way. So it's twofold here when the FDA is getting involved. Like, why are they really getting involved? So right now I'm just touching base points on what is going on and what potentially the risk factors are of what's happening, right? So they've called these popular peptides that I've just mentioned, which, if you're not aware, BPC-157, for a couple of years now that it's grown so much, it's really, it's derived from gastric juice of your intestines. It promotes healing. It promotes muscle, tendon, ligament, and both healing. It's anti-inflammatory. Thymosin beta, I wrote a little list here. It is, it helps with new blood vessel formation. It helps with tissue repair. Obviously, growth hormone, I've talked about it. Ways to boost your, growth hormone naturally is through improving, sleep and eating better and exercising. But this, injecting just growth hormone into you will automatically increase your muscle mass, improve fat loss. It will boost your energy levels. So like all of these hormones, some of them have been out and some of them are just like really popping, and like the average Joe, or if you're in the wellness and fitness industry, like you've heard about these things. So those specific peptides have changed into category 2. And so with that being said, pharmacies like Peptide Sciences can't give them out anymore. And so if people were getting those in a bulk, and people were just injecting those and there wasn't any regulation, it's a lot of like red tape at this moment, so they had to shut down. And obviously this wasn't random, right? This has been in the making. The FDA has been watching, and it's getting to the part where people don't always want to talk about this because not these specific peptides, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands of other peptides, guys. These are just like the mainstream ones that I know that I hear about. But I mean, your body has 7,000 peptides and more, right? And so if you change a molecule or something, instead of like BPC-17, it's going to be BPC-150, or something, like you can change the compound of that similar peptide by just changing a molecule here and there, and it'll be similar. And so that's what's kind of happening and cracking down in some of these companies, right? And so a lot of these peptides were being sold as research grade only, which when it says research grade only, that means it's in trials. It's not ready for human consumption yet. So it shouldn't be out, in the public. But some of these places were still selling them. They are still providing them. And so the FDA's concerns, right? We don't know if it's financial purposes or like just so many complaints of people are like, hey, I'm getting like all of these side effects and this is what I'm taking. I thought I was taking this, but it's not that. And so the FDA's concerns, there is some of these peptides that are being sold to people, they lack clinical studies. The potential impurities are not there. They could be from like a gray market. And so obviously there has been a lot of like safety concerns and risk from a lot of these companies that are just popping out like this. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why peptide science is closing down. And this isn't just about shutting things down, right? Because obviously there's people that are really wanting to control the market. They see the potential value, they see the money flow, they see that it's growing super fast, and they see that there's a lot of not enough regulation to support all of these changes. And I love peptides. They have their place. They have their thing. Like potentially, like my husband just started hormone replacement therapy with testosterone, and so I've been injecting him with testosterone. And so it does has its place, but it has to be the right way, and you have to really find a person or a doctor that you trust and that does the right things, because obviously you can't just go to the first website you see and they're like, yep, I just want to order. If they're like selling you, it's probably not a good thing, right? We want to titrate, we want to educate, we want to group everything with lifestyle and nutrition and habits and everything, instead of just like, yeah, just give me the pill, just give me the injection, just give me the GLP-1 and I want to lose weight. That's not how I work with people. That's not how things should be. And so it's very important that when you are looking into this, when you are looking into taking peptides, that you do your research, that you are getting them from a credible place. And it's sad because as I'm saying this, there's a group of people that I listen to. They have been my tried and true podcast forever. So if you guys have heard of Mind Pump, I definitely suggest it. They preach everything I've been doing, and it's just, I love them. And so a while back, they joined with Transcend. And Transcend right now is another hormone company, right? But the thing with them right now in 2026, they're not closed, but they're essentially not operating. And so a court issued for them like an emergency injunction. I Googled this because I was like, what is going on with them? Because obviously the podcasters were not disclosing any of this. And so they literally had to delete all patient data. They're allowed to not prescribe anymore. They owe people money. They literally can't talk to anybody, or they can't say a word. So they can't function. They can't prescribe. They can't treat. And on top of that, not only have been there reports of like customers not getting like responses, but I mean, they owe people so much money. And that is something that like when things get to that level, like how shady did you have to be? Were you doing things the right way? Right now, from what I read, they're trying to rebuild, rebrand, but honestly, like anything with Transcend, I would just stay away from at the moment, because you just don't know, right? It's all about a buck. It's all about making money. And when a company is legally being viewed that way, it's not a small issue that you can be like, oh, they'll get back up. That's literally a full stop. And it makes me really question like what is going on in that industry, in that world, because again, I'm part of it and I see the value of peptides. They have their place there. They are saving lives. This is the first time in history where food companies are like struggling, right? Their sales are going down. Fast food joints are going down. They are ramping up the protein because why? Because now it's all about eat high protein this, eat high protein that. They're literally trying to make food that if you're taking GLP-1s, that you will be able to eat these foods that aren't affected by GLP. Like that's how much crazy science is going in that direction. And so everything is evolving, it's changing, because all of these markets, if it's not making money, if they're losing money, that they have to pivot into something else, right? And that's where the market is taking us right now. And now, why did I decide to do a segment like this? I decided to do this because it's in my world, it's in what I see, it's potentially our future, and it's something that the statistics of GLP-1s, I think are, let me pull them up. Let me see here. I think they're like 1 in 5 are using GLP-1s. I mean, people that shouldn't be on them are on them. They're just growing so much. So 1 in 5 individuals in America are using GLP-1s. This is just one form of peptide. This is not even the other ones that I mentioned or the abundance of other peptides that there are, right? This is just GLP-1s. And so why am I talking about this? Because there is a huge change going on in the health industry. And while on one side, we have these companies shutting down because they're not practicing the right way, because they're just prescribing, because they just want to make a quick buck, because they're just selling, because they don't really care about the individual. They really are just there to make money, which is fine. Like as a coach, I want to make money. I think everybody that works wants to make money. I know we have everything going on with the TSA right now. Like people are quitting. Why? Because they're not getting paid. If you're working and you're putting the effort, like you want to get paid. But when it comes to making money, I always believe like integrity has to come first. Your honesty and the value that you provide to people has to come first. And that has to be number one value before getting paid. And I mean, that's why I became a coach, right? I wanted to change. I wanted to make a difference. And I see that being made right now. And so many people are so uneducated and thinking like, if I take this is going to change my life. This is going to make such a huge difference. And yes, but there's ways to do it better. There's ways to create a better lifestyle. There's ways to do it in a better place where you're not in a place where it's dysfunctional. If you're just like taking the GLP-1s or taking the peptides and thinking all I have to do is take this and continue the life that I'm living, there's ways to educate people. And so this is where I come in. This is where I see the other side of things evolving, right? This part really, really excites me because I want to move away from unregulated, synthetic gray market peptides, like all of these things, because there are horror stories out there of the peptides that people are having because they have all of these side effects because they trusted some of these companies. And these are just two that I'm very aware of and that are popular, but there's many others as well. And so I potentially want to move into a more natural, a more research-backed, a more viable approach. And this is where the shift needs to be, right? So let's simplify here for a second, right? Peptides are not a foreign thing, like I said. They already exist. They've already are in your body. Like I said, there are over 7,000 naturally present peptides in the human body, and they play a role in about 98% of your biological processes. Everything from, fat loss, muscle growth, metabolism, recovery, mood, sleep, the way you focus, cognitive function, like all of those things, right? Like I made a little list here. Peptides are basically the language of the body. They are how you function. And I always explain it, how it was taught to me and how I really learned to perceive it is they're little text messages. They send signals to tell your body what to do, and when they do it, that's how your body responds, right? So if there's not a good signal, if sometimes those messages aren't getting through, they go from blue to green, like sometimes we are not functioning the right way, right? So where we are heading now is into this space where we're using a more natural communication system in a smarter way. We're seeing the rise of bioactive precision peptides derived from natural sources, things like plants, whey, and other nutrient-rich compounds. And so this is make. This is why I joined them. Like I see the studies, I see the reviews, I see the growth, I see the potential, and the fact that I am 6 months pregnant and I'm using them and I feel great. I feel like my baby's healthy. We are 6 months pregnant. There hasn't been a lot of any complications that I feel that are like, oh my God, this is happening. We did our body scanned and she's measuring right where she needs to be. And so I feel really good that if I can take them while I'm pregnant, then I can take them anytime. If I can give them to my kids, I feel good giving them to my kids, then we're okay. Like that is such a green flag for me. So when we're seeing AI, right? Because, that is another area that we're jumping into, AI. This is where it's so helpful, right? Is being used to identify specific peptides that support energy, recovery, metabolism, focus, sleep. And we're seeing a higher standard of this production, right? Of this company, of this type of product, because when I look for products, so if you guys know, I'm a full script provider. So I order collagen, I order prenatals, I order probiotics, I order fish oil. I just did an order. I ordered some creatine. Like I make sure when I order through FullScript, a lot of these companies are GMP certified, so that means good manufacturing practices, that their facilities are certified. They are multiple players of testing. There's multiple layers of testing, so it's not just like the company saying this and this something else is happening, right? So there's layers to that. So I know the focus is on like the product being pure, it's potent, and most specifically that is safe, that I'm not going to be growing like a third arm or hair where I don't want it to be growing, right? Like I trust blindly and know because all of these factors are in place with this company specific, and I don't have to inject anything. Obviously, we know injecting is the best route. There's no doubt about that. But when there's a safer way where I can take my time, and I sure enough, I'm not in a hurry for anything at the moment. Like I said, my husband has been taking testosterone for like a month now. And so it's this second dose that we did for him has made a world of a difference. He asked the doctor to increase the amount he was taking because the first dose he did not see anything, he feel anything different. So his testosterone was pretty low, pretty low for him. And so this second week that I injected him, man, he has nothing but good things to say. And so they do make a world of a difference. They do help people in various ways. Obviously, testosterone is different from a peptide, but is a hormone, right? It helps people. And I know a lot of women that start HRT, and so that kind of plays a symbolic role in how peptides affect your body as well. And so when we have these practices in line with what I'm aligned with, doing things the right way, testing and putting things out there, because it's not about overriding the body. It's not about when I've explained to you, GLP-1s are like, they literally just stop you from being hungry. They stop you from feeling hungry. You don't think about food. You don't want food. You don't want to drink. Like, they literally stop all that signal, all of those signals in their track, right? And for me, I wouldn't want that. Like, I want to enjoy life. I want to be able to eat when I'm hungry. And obviously, it's retraining our body to do that. So I really believe there's other ways in supporting our body and just doing things the right way. Not the fastest way, not the shortcut, but the way that actually lets you live and support your body for the long term. So right now I'm seeing both sides, right? The synthetic, all the crazy crap that's happening in that world, and And so I've seen what happens when people chase quick fixes. Like, I've done the quick fixes. Obviously, these types of things weren't, in my world like 20 years ago, but I've seen what happens when I've built a foundation. I've built long-term success. I've been able to maintain my weight without sacrificing, without saying, I still enjoy the pizza. I still enjoy the Chick-fil-A occasionally. I don't say no to those things, but I know when we really focus on lifestyle, habits, nutrition, and supplements, then they do make a difference when you go in that order. Not all peptides are created equal. Where they come from matters. How they're made matters. How they're used matters. So there's still a risk in this space. So the main point of this episode today was just to educate yourself and create that awareness. So no, it's not the end of peptides. Trust me, peptides are going to be here and the space is growing, but I do really think that it needs a big cleanup. And honestly, it's making room for what make is, right? It's making room for something better. It's making room for something that I feel that is more aligned with health, with safety, with long-term results, and that people understand. This is why I'm doing this. So people understand that you can choose to do something and shift something and choose peptides in a more safer way. So the question is here, are you going to be the ones that benefit the most from it, right? And everybody has goals. The summer's coming. At this point, people are either like giving up or ramping up that summer bod. Obviously, I'm pregnant, and so I'm still going to be postpartum in that time. But trust me, they're going to be there for me. So If you're curious about what I'm using, what I recommend, or what fits your routine, just, reach out to me directly. I love having these conversations and talking about this. And, hopefully this is helping you understand making wiser and better decisions that will actually support your body. So thank you for listening, and I will chat with you next time. Bye.